Yo, thanks for having me, everyone. Good morning. Thank you, everyone, for throwing the show, for paying all the artists so nicely, for putting on for free. That's crazy. The world's kind of messed up, so you never know when that's going to get taken away. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Kevin, for having me. Is there a way to... Yep, there we go. Start the timer so I don't talk too much. So I got asked to talk about music, and I'm like, what am I going to talk about? So I tried to think of all the information in the universe is on YouTube, right? You can pretty much learn anything. So there's a very small selection of things that haven't been talked about that are actually really important. And I think one of the main things, all right, so this is about electronic music. Everyone wants to make crazy fast, chaotic, Aphex-y, Audacre style drums, and it's this big mystery. How does one do that? How do you compact all this information to all this space with all this variation? They're saying they can do it they do it in a day, in 2 days. They make this track so quickly. What's going on here? It just feels like a holy grail, if that makes kind of sense, that everyone kind of wants, but it's kind of shrouded in mystery. And I don't think it should be shrouded in mystery. I think it's good for this kind of information to be accessible to everyone, so that everyone can know that they can make this kind of music. Yeah. So where are we going with that? You can almost present it as an open question, not an open question, but okay, so you have a melody, okay, and you're trying to write these crazy ass drums over it that go on forever, and they change every bar, yada 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 yada. If you make yourself listen to that melody while you're writing those drums 100 gajillion times, no matter how good that melody is, no matter how hit status or whatever it is, you're gonna get really, really freaking tired of it by the time you're done programming those drums. You're literally gonna hit that playback button over 2,000 times in the process of making your track. And by the end of that, you will probably hate your own track. There's a very small chance you won't just automatically hate it, which is we all struggle from that, right? So how do you get around? How do you get around listening to your own track while you're making it, right? How do you escape the thing you're making in the process of making it so you can survive it a little longer, right? For me, the way I figured it out, and I think just as a general strategy, of breaking things down into smaller pieces, is how do I describe it? Try to how do I say this? Break it down into all the individual instruments. So start with, I would say the best way to start with making crazy, complex drums is just do the drums. Start with just the drums. Get yourself. This is kind of awkward because this is a new laptop, so it has nothing on it yet. But here's the general idea. Start with just drums. Whether it's breaks or MIDI, just find a sound and commit to it. And don't just commit to it for the length of how long the track is. Commit to it for 20 minutes. Load up the think break and chop up variations for 20 minutes. And don't do it all in one day. Do it for half an hour every day. In between all the other fucking shit we have to do on a daily basis, right? It's pretty hard to cram 16 hours of music making into a day when you have to work a job, go to class, do all that stuff. But the thing is, by the end of that, you'll have 20 minutes of really interesting ideas that are just waiting to go. And so this is kind of a pale mockery of what 20 minutes would look like. But you just kind of you just take a break and you just write. No melodies. It's only a pretty short project, but you just do imagine this copy paste it, you know what I mean? Just do that a few times. Whoa. That's what it should if this was actually what was happening. 18 minutes of just total insanity. But then once you have that, you can start porting it over without having ever listened to a single melody this whole time. You haven't had to burn out a single ear hole listening to your own shit too many times while making the drums, because now the drums exist already. And I think this is a completely functional way to do things, because I've managed to make entire tracks, 7-minute breakcore tracks, without ever writing a single note before all the drums were done. And for some reason, it works. It stops the weird block up of trying to write a few bars of drums, trying to write a little melody, trying to go having them kind of tied together vertically. For some reason, that just never works. You kind of stay in the shadow of what's possible by doing that. But if you make these huge kind of resource piles, yo, what's up, Jérémie? Welcome to the party. If you make these huge resource piles for yourself and kind of hold back from even the idea of the song for a really long time, you can kind of create it's almost like you're building a commercial airliner. You know what I mean? You have the wings, you have the engines, and they're all in different parts of the country, getting carefully put together, and then at the end they all kind of come together to form this, larger than all the individual pieces part. So like here's, for example, like what that pile of drums was getting used for. It's just so much easier to like write melodies once you have a shit ton of really funky ideas, you know what I mean? And then I think it's really important to kind of apply that idea to the melodies too. Like put the drums away once you're done with them. Just make a project at the same tempo. And just remember the drums. You don't have to listen to them anymore. Like forget them for a while, and then when the time you come back to them, they'll be like fresh as shit. You know what I mean? Let's see. Did I open the fucking counterpoints? Where the hell is my file structure? I can't find it, but just imagine a bunch of melodies and MIDI files, right? So yeah, just like really separate the two. Like spend long portions of time apart from the two, because otherwise you're gonna have to listen to your own thing over and over and over and over and over again, and you'll get really tired of it, no matter how special it is. And it's like a really heartbreaking element of music in general. Is like the further you work on it, like the more you start to hate it near the end because you just can't physically love it anymore. I had that problem a lot, like playing with bands and like recording instrumental music. It was like by the time you're actually like mixing and mastering the album, like the songs and the melodies and mixing the guitar tone is just so like ear-gratingly tiring that you just don't relate to it anymore, which is a big reason why I really like electronic music, because there's kind of like a quicker pipeline to like that stage, and like you can spend less time blasting your ears out on stuff you don't want to hear anymore. But yeah, I still love recording instrumental music, but electronic music rules. Let's see what else we got. So like you can apply this to MIDI too. I'm kind of like just talking about like chopping up breaks here, but you can really do this with MIDI too, and you can do it like with like I don't know, beat slicing stuff like Momentum, or just with straight MIDI. I kind of just like straight MIDI. I couldn't find the sampler setup, but like just for like visual sake, just to get an idea what it looks like when it's with MIDI. Blast this open. I lined it up to the track. So this is like the product of like me sitting down like maybe like an hour, half hour every day for like a couple weeks and just like writing out patterns. It didn't like, you'll see like interviews with really good artists and they'll be like, yeah, like I crank out a track like this every day. And I'm like, that's really cool, but like that's amazing. But like it shouldn't be like the only speed one can do this thing at. You should be able to do it, like give yourself just a little bit of time every day. You know what I mean? Like I think that's a really important thing to it's good to be patient in this hyper world. And then like at the end, you know, you just have like so much stuff, and you can just like bring it in, layer it in. Sorry, I might clip in your system. Sorry about that. You just have a lot to work with. You know what I mean? Like you have like puzzle pieces instead of like having to come up with everything in the moment, like kind of on this like moving edge. It just gets overwhelming. You know what I mean? It's more like Legos this way. But yeah, I would say just like even beyond music, like I think the whole point of anything I'm trying to say right now is just with anything, even beyond music, if you can break it down into like small enough parts for yourself, you can find a way to like make it happen for yourself. Whether that's like fitness, educational stuff, music stuff, just break it down into smaller and smaller parts, and like I guarantee you'll find a way to teach it to yourself. Like I don't know, a lot of stuff is gatekept because of the way we're supposed to digest it, I suppose. But you find your own way to digest it, if that makes any sense. Like if you're reading a long book, like read it one page a day. You know what I mean? I think Kevin asked me to talk about Reaper a little bit. Reaper's fun. I don't know how many of you all use Reaper, but it's fun. It's kind of little gray and unassuming at first and hard to get into. But what's cool about Reaper? I mean, these days everything's got everything, so I'm not gonna get all like, you should switch to this DAW because you know. But here's some cool shit that's in it. Most of what I like about it, aside from the workflow, is it has really beautiful like user-made plugins and like user-made software. And I built a little project just to show you some of the stuff that people have made. There's like a step sequencer. So let's build it up one step at a time. So physical impulse resonance modeling plugin that lets you make kind of build and design instruments based on parameters like the tautness of various surfaces, various kind of like metal tubular designs. Use female, male vowels, mallets. There's someone just put this together, you know what I mean, like in their spare time and cook this up. A really beautiful sounding instrument, and you can do some really wild shit with it. Wait. So let's blend it together. Here's another thing by the same developer. It's like a mono bass synth. Let's blend them together. Put some graphic interfaces like. And then another thing I really like to do, like, this is something I really like about Reaper, it has this really powerful kind of octave displacement plugins, like MIDI modal randomness. So say you've got this melody you're running. I think displacing octaves is something that doesn't get talked about enough too. You can write like a really sick melody and just make a plugin displace which octave is getting played for each note, and just like wildly expands the way it sounds to me. Like, let me see if I can find something. Melody that you've written, but it's just choosing random octaves, you know what I mean? You can record that back to itself, chop it up. It's really beautiful stuff, because this is all stuff that people cooked up for this recording program, you know, in their spare time. No financial incentive, just building really powerful artistic tools that are really inspiring to me. Like I could talk for 3 hours about just MIDI modal randomness alone and how powerful it is. Some stuff is really interesting. Like, there's some people who come to this program and they have like next level mathematical understanding that I just like can't even begin to understand. And they build just like really weird stuff, like applying like mathematical principles, like the fairy spiral. Like, how does this thing work? Yeah, I'm not even sure what this thing does, but it's this dude is his software developer name is Jawsmack, and he just builds these incredible kind of mathematical expression plugins of various kinds. He also builds like metering software and like mastering shit. But this one really is just like a really beautiful graphic interface, kind of a work of art in of itself. And then they'll do stuff like apply like a lattice filter, which is a cool mathematical principle, and turn it into something you can actually use to make music with. You know what I mean? Kind of sounds like a car alarm, but it's very interesting. And then there's some joke plugins. This one's just like a bee-themed plugin that makes everything sound like bees. Doesn't really sound like bees. But yeah. Is there anything more? Some stuff is really next level. One dude like figured out how to almost like turn Reaper into Blender. So like he introduced kind of like stack and like node-based programming. Let me see if I can make this happen. I've sort of started using this stuff, but it's actually so over my head in some ways. Then you can start literally piling like modifications onto in a stack. So you can go, for example, like special hit beat chop, and now it's been beat chopped. You can create new seeds. This is kind of it's not quantized very well right now, but you get the point. Like you can just do these crazy fast modification stacks. You can say fade out, selection, select random items, invert this. You know what I mean? Just this crazy ability to interact with the music logically really quickly. I'm making a bunch of fart noises right now, but you get the point. It's very powerful. Yeah. kind of barreling through this, but yeah, that's kind of what I do in Reaper. Does anyone have any questions? Sweet. I guess I'm gonna play some music and then yeah. Let's close this stuff. I'm gonna unplug my laptop. If there's anything you guys want to put up there, just go for it. I'm just gonna play some tunes. Sweet, I'm gonna play some tunes. Thanks for coming through so early. Really appreciate that. Y'all are the best. Thank you, Kevin, for hooking me up, hitting me up. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Thank you, MassArt. Thank you, Eventworks. Y'all have been the best. Looking so forward to seeing everyone else's performances today. I'm going to be here all day, let me tell you. And I cut it a little bit short, so we got some changeover time, pizza time. Hell yeah. I'm just going to let this run for a sec. Yeah. Have fun, y'all.